I must have looked so bad that they were like, we can't have the other patients in the waiting room becoming discouraged that this man here is like dying, and that this would just be a bad look on the hospital if he was out in the lobby. So like, let's wheel him into a corner. Another story time. These are getting good. This one is quite possibly the worst day of my life, we'll say. And I'm not exaggerating. I genuinely, like, when I point to a day, a time, a moment where I truly wish to pass on beyond this world and go and meet my creator, I think none other than this day. It's very fitting that I tell this story on the day I have COVID, where my body actively feels like it wants to die, but this does not tread closely in comparison. So if you like the video, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on those post noties as I'm posting every Friday. Really thought I was gonna miss this week due to being sick, but here we are. And, you know, follow the socials, you know, the Instagram, the Twitter. I know you guys have it, so give it a follow. Story time. So my buddies Evan, Matt, and Tyler and I have been through college together. Decide to take a trip to Oklahoma. Why? I don't know. Just one of those spontaneous, hey guys, like, let's take a trip. Where should we go? Let's pick a random park in Oklahoma and stay overnight in a tent. I don't know if you guys have ever done that before. Just been that spontaneous. But this was the first time I had been just like random about an activity, landing us literally in a tiny little park in Oklahoma. So we make the trip out. Nobody checked the weather. Nobody checked anything. I mean, we're college students. You know, I still rely on my mom to text me when, like, we're gonna have a hurricane blowing through town. If my phone isn't alerting me to severe thunderstorm warning, which doesn't really matter anyway, because the last time I got a severe thunderstorm warning, I ignored it and got $10,000 worth of hail damage on my car. That being said, you know, if I'm not being alerted to the things around me, more than likely, I'm gonna be ignorant. I'm gonna miss the social cues of potential danger, or in this case, freezing temps. So we go out to Oklahoma. You know, we do some rock climbing, we do some adventuring around. It's like January 2020. So right before our hell breaks loose with COVID, the calm before the storm. I truly believe that the storm started pretty close to this day. The worst day of my life. So there we are in Oklahoma. Boys are having a blast. We're taking pictures up on this ridge, enjoying the sun, admiring God's creation. Everyone's just having a great time, jumping from rock to rock, boulder to boulder. Then out of nowhere, our boy Evan jumps for a ledge, doesn't make it. It was like a cartoon almost, but like a terrifying cartoon, because in this case, it was a real person, and it was my friend Evan. I literally witnessed jump and disappear. Like, cliff, jump, boom, gone. Like, Evan just gone. And I thought he died. I straight up thought he died. He ended up falling about, I don't know, 7-8 feet. Was a little startled, as one is when it feels like you almost died, but he was good. Anyway, we go to Chili's this one night because we didn't bring food. We weren't actually like camping. We were just out there to sleep. So we got food at Chili's. And this is the start of the downfall. Now, I'm a big Chili's guy. I love Chili's. But ever since this moment, Chili's and I have had beef, you know, like Taco Bell type of beef. You know, it's not good. It's just not. Evan and Tyler are sitting across from Matt and I, and we do this deal, let's, you know, Michael Scott, let's share an awesome blossom type of moment.
I think we should share an awesome blossom. What do you say? They are awesome.
Where Matt and I share this like chicken dish. Evan and Tyler share some other dish or whatever. So Matt and I share this thing, and it's delish. You know, we throw it down. Again, I'm a big fan of Chili's. Like, it's good stuff. Get in the car, go back home. Wind howling in, okay? Temps go from 30s to suddenly like 20s, and then I'm not sure if it got in the teens. It's a blur. Here's the thing. The problem with 4 college students planning a trip without adult supervision is that we didn't prepare for anything. There was no, hey guys, did we bring a med kit? No. Hey guys, did we bring like sleeping bags or anything to comfort us, you know, going from just the ground? So it's literally cold, hard ground, the tarp, the lining, a paper thin line of tarp, and then a blanket and my body. So there's not much, and it's freezing cold, and everyone's unhappy. Everyone is just in pain. We were not having a good time. The next day, we go out, we play some disc golf, have a good time, realize, hey, maybe we should just go home. You know, we don't really want to have to stomach another night out here. This whole trip was kind of like a college bonding experience, and trust me, we bonded. So we go back to my house. That next day, we all drive back to College Station, the home for the last semester of college, the start of one of the worst years ever, and the beginning of the worst day of my life. That morning, Tyler texts us in the group that Matt is throwing up. Just been nonstop puking. I'm just like, dang, that sucks. Everyone else seemed fine. I was getting my ring sized, my Aggie ring, my bling, which I don't know. I don't even know where that is right now. But yeah, so Matt's throwing up that morning. I'm moving into my place, getting everything situated. That night at about 8 p.m., I started to feel the rumbly tumblies in my stomach. Now, anytime I get sick, it typically affects my stomach. I was born with a weak stomach. I have motion sickness. If I get a sore throat, I'm throwing up. If I get strep, I'm throwing up. If I get seasick, I'm throwing up. I mean, it's just everything affects the stomach. And I start feeling the rumblies, and I'm like, oh no. There's typically that one feeling of like, oh, this one's a little bit different than just a normal like, ow, you know, I need to go spend an hour on the pot. That wasn't gonna help this. That wasn't gonna solve anything. And this is, I have to say, graphic content. If this is going to be a good story, I gotta describe it in detail, okay? Graphic warning. The pain just starts to rise, starts to get higher and higher and higher and higher. That's when you know, oh, this one's gonna be different. Now, in the bathroom, I was already in my knees in prayer, begging, Lord, please do not let me be sick. Don't let me throw up. But that is also just the best stance for I'm about to throw up. We went straight from praying to throwing up in the toilet. And of course, you know, you feel better at that moment. I give it another 5 minutes and I was right back in the same pain. I was like, oh, this is weird. Same stuff. It starts rising and rising and rising. And I start throwing up again. And I was like, oh my gosh. Then it happened again, another 2-3 minutes. Throwing up. Next time it was 1 minute. Throwing up. At that point, we had been tapped. Now, the last meal that I had was a giant from Jersey Mike's. And in case you guys don't know, that is a massive sandwich. So as I'm throwing up, I am actively recreating my sandwich out in front of me. And at some point you run out of material. You know, the mats aren't there anymore. You're at zero. Your wood, steel, I forget what the third element is, but I was out. I ran dry, but I was still trying to throw up. So at that point, I am dry heaving to the point of I start spitting up blood. And that's when I was like, oh no, that's not good. Like, out of all the times I've been sick, I've never done that. So I grab my trash can and I go downstairs and I get my roommate Cole. And I was like, hey man, I'm throwing up blood. I feel terrible. I can't stop. I need you to take me to the hospital. Because at that point I thought maybe I had a kidney issue, or what's the thing that you can lose? Your gallbladder, your pancreas, your kidney bean, your stones, your kidney stone. I don't know. The thing that you can lose, I'm gonna look that up later. I thought that had given up, and this was me. This is my body saying, hey bro, we quit. So I get in his car. To my horror, there is that severe thunderstorm going on outside. Didn't know. Had no idea. It was a ice storm that was rolling through College Station, and there was a tornado actively on the ground in the AO. I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm going to the hospital. I'm throwing up. I can't stop. I'm throwing up blood. My mom's like, I'll be there. I will drive down. She's in Dallas, so it's a 3-hour drive. She's like, I'll drive there. I'm coming. She couldn't make it. The storm iced over the roads. My mom literally is trapped. Cannot get to me. Cole is taking me to the hospital, driving 20 under the speed limit because it is just pouring rain and pouring wind and everything that we can barely see out the windshield. Meanwhile, I am actively chilling in shotgun, just throwing up into my $5 Office Max trash can. Again, I don't have anything in me, so I'm just dry heaving, spitting. I'm literally dry heaving with such aggression that it was almost hard to breathe. And it was so frequent. It was probably like every minute that I'm just like, I can't contain what's in me, right? We make it to the hospital. We go in the ER. There's like 10 people in there. Everyone, you know, and that's basically everyone that you would expect to be in a Walmart after hours. I mean, just so many characters and personalities. You're like, that guy is actively holding his leg in his lap and it isn't attached to anything. You know, it's like those types of injury. You're looking around, you're like, how, oh my gosh, you know, should you be in a waiting room right now? I feel like you should be in the operation table right now. They should be playing doctor on you, you know? And there I am with my little trash can. I go up to the front desk, and I kid you not, I literally experienced that stereotypical how the front desk lady acts when you be dying and stuff. You know, that meme, literally to a T. I mean, that was this lady. And she's like, you know, name, address, what seems to be the problem. I threw up in front of her, and I was like, that is my problem. Okay. It was at this point that my body decided, hey bro, we're not giving up enough out your mouth. So let's go the other way as well. As I'm standing there giving my information, winded, exhausted, because I have just been, my head's been down and I'm just like, I got nothing left for you, ma'am. I say, do you have a bathroom? She said, right over there, hun. I scurry on over. I get to the bathroom. I plop down and oh my gosh, like a fire hydrant, I start diabetes while actively dry heaving into my trash can. Now, I don't know if you have ever experienced the double-fisted dragon that is this circumstance. Both sides of your body, I mean, the worst. The absolute worst. It is like your soul is being ripped out of its body and there's just this black hole inside of you. But I'm literally on the toilet and I can't get off because I continue to, I don't know where it's coming from. At this point, I truly believe that I'm losing my intestines. Cole comes to the door, starts knocking. He's like, hey, they're ready for you. And I'm like, I can't leave the toilet, man. Like, this trash can ain't big enough for both ends. Nor do I believe the physics of my head and my butt being on opposite ends and only one basket. I don't think that's gonna work. So I'm like, I can't. They're like, all right, well, you need to hurry up because they're gonna give your position up to someone else. And I was like, no. So I find a stopping point. And this nurse is like, how you feeling? I'm like, terrible. And she said, okay, well, I'm gonna give you some anti-nausea medicine here. She gives it to me. I throw it up immediately. And she's like, oh, okay, well, it's that bad. And I was like, yeah. And she said, all right, well, I'll be right back. And she leaves. And I'm like, no, I need to poop. I need to explode again. So I get up and I find another bathroom, and it's a single bathroom that panders to like all the like gurneys, the tables on that little that floor. I go into the bathroom and I literally pass out on the ground, just like leaning over the toilet. The nurse comes and finds me because I ended up like pulling the cord. There's like a cord in there. It's like help, basically life alert, but like for the hospital where you're like help. Doctor comes in. She's not even sympathetic, bro. Like, she literally is mad. She's like, you can't be in here. Where do you want me to go? I am exploding out both ends of my body. And she said, you can't be in here. This bathroom needs to be accessible for everyone. And I'm just like, ma'am, I need a place to poop and I need a place to throw up. And she said, let's take you back to the lobby. I go back to the lobby where that lobby bathroom is. Both restrooms are occupado. So I'm like, oh my gosh. At that point, I had dispelled so much fluid and things from my body. I had no energy. And they got me a wheelchair. They literally got me a wheelchair. I pass out and I wake up to me facing a corner. Like, that's me, bro. Literally just facing a corner. And apparently I must have looked so bad that they were like, we can't have the other patients in the waiting room becoming discouraged that this man here is like dying. And that this would just be a bad look on the hospital if he was out in the lobby. So like, let's wheel him into a corner. So there I am, sick to my stomach, facing a corner. Nobody there to love me. Cole pieced out. My roommate dipped. Okay. So it's just me, my wheelchair, and my nice little corner. Okay. This doctor comes back to me. Apparently it had been like, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes or whatever. Doctor comes up to me, pats me on the shoulder and says, hey, are you Chase? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, hey, we have a room for you now. We've been looking for you. And I'm like, did you forget? They wheel me into a corner and they just forgot. So I get wheeled into my room. I get hooked up on my IV. I get anti-nausea stuff. I get, all the happy juices. At that point, things had really calmed down and stuff, and they wanted to make sure that they knew what they were dealing with. So they give me like this plastic bowl and they're like, hey, poop in this. And I'm like, I got nothing left for you. I was like, can I have some food? And they literally said, no, you can't have water because you're going to throw it up. And I was like, that seems ridiculous because I'm already going to like dry heave and stuff. So you might as well give me something to throw up so it's not as painful. Because at that point, I put so much stress on the esophageal things and my, whatever that is. I'm like, the lining has just melted and corroded away. I'd love to lube it up with some water. And they're like, nah, you're going to throw that up. At that point, I'm just like, Mom, please. Like, I need somebody in my life. So I put the bowl away because I was like, look, doc, yeah, ain't no way you guys are getting a stool test from me right now. Like, I am tapped. They're like, okay, it's fine. Just sleep. So I slept for, you know, a few hours. So I stayed there for probably, I think 6 to 8 hours, something like that. Basically it was like 4 in the morning, I think. So it's 4 in the morning and I finally am like, hey, I'm good. Like, can I go home? And they're like, yeah, sure. Like, we'll discharge you. They took their sweet time. I mean, that I literally got the, yeah, you're good, but like we need to discharge you and stuff. And then it was like another hour. And so much so that I like left my room, walked and like was walking through the halls and there were people screaming. Like there was someone that they obviously had their full attention on that was just screaming bloody murder. And, you know, I didn't want to be that guy that like, you know, walked into the room with like the screaming kid and, you know, was like, hey, I know you guys look busy. Do you mind if one of you comes and checks me out? I didn't want to be that guy. So I just waited. I finally got checked out, but all my roommates were asleep. May I remind you that we had the severe thunderstorm. So it was like 30 degrees, still storming. I went to the hospital in a t-shirt and shorts. So now I'm outside the hospital in a t-shirt and shorts calling for an Uber to get me home. You know how hard it is to get an Uber at 4 a.m. in the middle of a severe thunderstorm? Impossible. So I sat out there for like 30 minutes waiting for someone. Man charged me like threefold because he didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be there. I finally make it home, get in my own bed. I get up that morning, you know, around like 8 or 9, and my roommates are like, oh, hey, Chase, did you make it home? And I'm like already home. You know, I'm already in my bed. I wake up to the, hey, Chase, did you make it home okay? And I'm just like, oh, now you guys care. So anyway, all that to say, easily the worst day of my life. The most pain, the most trauma, the most just like, I've never felt so like, please, Lord, take me home than I was in that gurney. Because the other thing too, because I had the IV in me and it was kind of, oh, dude, it was hot. I forgot about that. It was hot in my room. So I feel sick. I've got an IV in me, so I can't get up and leave because I'm literally attached. And it was hot in my room, so I'm sweating. Oh gosh, it was torture. It was truly torture. I wish no one would go through that. Come to find out, it was the norovirus, the thing that like ruins Carnival cruise ships or whatever. It like goes through and super contagious, super, you know, affects the stomach and all that. So anyway, easily the worst day of my life. I hope you enjoyed my trauma. If you guys enjoyed the video, and if you enjoyed the story, please leave a like, subscribe, and turn those post noties on. See y'all in the next one.